Like, it was interesting because during my awakening, everything made sense. That was my union with my twin flame. That was in 2020, probably like way back in 2005 was when I met my false twin. And I can remember during that time, I was 13 years old, thinking all the stars in the sky make sense. Right, hello and welcome. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about something that I feel I desperately need to talk about. I finally have the courage and the presence to speak about it. And this is the long-term effects that I've suffered and am still suffering from isolation. And this dates way back to my childhood. Some of my very first memories on this planet are being left alone, abandoned, and neglected by both of my parents. And this isn't to shame them whatsoever. It's just to acknowledge that it happened. You know, I can remember being left in the car seat. I can remember being taken to some other kid's birthday party and being left without an explanation. Stuff like this, okay? And it branches off and it's just really bad. It's severe. So when I had my spiritual awakening, my greatest fear, you know, and this all had also, let me know, throughout my childhood, I was encountering and meeting people who were lovers from a past life that were taken from me. A whole bunch of different people, like I was connecting telepathically and energetically with people and not being able to do anything about it, not really know what was going on. I mean, I'm a child. This started when I was 6 years old. Actually, it was way before that. I can remember having these feelings for people when I was about 3. So it started really, really early, where I was always experiencing something that I couldn't explain, that didn't allow me to really be present in my body. And then, of course, I was abandoned and neglected. So, we're talking about big problems. You know, we're talking about very big problems that had long-term negative effects on my psyche, like really, really bad, really deep, really dark. That's just the way it is. I'm not saying there's nothing I can do about it, because I'm doing something about it right now. I'm talking about it. I'm always reclaiming my soul. I'm always remembering who I am. I'm always taking the moments that are absolutely packed and riddled with fear and anxiety and being able to flip that and now use that to my advantage to learn from whatever it is I'm experiencing, rather than just trying to woo and it all away. Maybe that might help in the moment, but really what you want to do is be able to take whatever it is, the anxiety, the anger, the rage, get to the root behind it, get to what happened behind it, and learn how to be able to heal from that. You know, we have to heal at the root level. Sometimes triggers, you can't explain where they came from. You don't know where they came from. That's why, you know, you do have to be present with it instead of just, like I said, trying to bliss it away. Feeling it is essential, you know. Part of being able to release it is feeling it, of course. You definitely don't want to bliss it away. That's called neglect. That's denial. It'll do nothing but continue to chase you when you run from it. But when you acknowledge it, the point of acknowledging it and allowing yourself to feel it is to understand and learn where it came from so that you can use it to your advantage, like I'm doing now. Like I'm finally talking about it. Because, you know, here I am. I just have a really unique, weird experience going on. After my awakening, because I had all that subconscious programming of not being loved, not being lovable, not being good enough, being unworthy, being neglected and abandoned, it all came to the forefront after my awakening. And like I said in previous videos, and many of you know, I found myself completely alone. And I just kind of became really boxed in and squared off in this like little tiny corner in my house, in my neighborhood, where I literally felt like it was me against the world, and it's a really complex situation because I was experiencing samadhi and enlightenment and unity consciousness within my body. So no one knew what I now knew. No one could see, no one around me could see what I saw. And then, of course, I'm alone. So it's just very complex, very layered situation that I personally am in and have been in. And is my great honor, to be able to piece that puzzle together and be able to sort it out and heal from it. That's actually such a gift, such a blessing. Of course, it doesn't always feel like that still. And of course, it hasn't felt like that. I haven't perceived it like that. Like, it was interesting because during my awakening, everything made sense. Like, everything made sense. That was my union with my twin flame. Okay, that was in 2020. So I guess it was probably like way back in 2005 was when I met my false twin. And I can remember during that time, I was 13 years old. And I just remember having this deep inner knowing that came to life, that was always there, that I experienced previously, but it came to life stronger than it had before. And I just remember thinking all the stars in the sky make sense. My 13-year-old brain just like was all the stars in the sky make sense. That was 2 years before I met my twin flame. I met my twin when I was 15. But the interesting thing was, even though we were together every single day for the most part, she was a teacher in my high school, my art teacher. Every morning to the end of the day, way after school, just that's the way it was. We were together all the time. And interestingly enough, we didn't experience our union until, I guess it was probably 6 years from the last time that I saw her and 13 years after we initially met. Kind of cool, kind of weird, kind of unexpected. I don't think that's how it goes for most twin flames, but all twin flame stories are unique and they're all really interesting and I love to hear about them. But again, during my awakening, my spiritual union, experiencing my Kundalini awakening and samadhi in that union was when everything made sense. I knew it. I knew that I was tapped into my path, how my path was so unique. We all feel like that. We feel our path is unique, da 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 da. But let me put it this way. I was able to read the codes of my personal plan and how it was interconnected and tied with others. So thank God that I had that knowing. I knew that. So it was like, that was like my safety float, through all the excruciating loss that I felt after that period of union. And then I went into separation after entering the dark night of the soul, through that whole thing where I just felt completely just like I was floating in the middle of nowhere with no one, not loved. It was like my soul was bruised. And in the trap of that and being lost so deeply in that, for so many years, I held on to that knowing that I gained during my awakening, that I have a plan. And everything was unfolding in divine timing. Not everyone has that experience. Not everyone has experienced what I've been gifted to see. That literally everything happens in exquisite divine timing. And when you follow your soul's path, even if it means what I did, going out alone, everywhere I traveled was a bottomless black pit. You have to do that. I had to do that. I had to face my fears. And when you do that, I spent years doing that. And then it finally started to come together, especially in 2024, when we all started to connect and it was like angel choir. It's just hard for me to process. It's hard for me to fathom that I had to experience that. And I'm still experiencing it, and that's why it's so hard for me. I'm filled with anger because I'm still experiencing it. And there are people on social media and the internet that, like, I'm perceiving that are attacking me and that just want to turn other people against me, when it really feels like, I'm like fighting almost for my life. It's really weird because all my connections and all these people that I have very deep, intimate, sacred connections with are on social media, on the internet, not actually out here in my physical world where I need to be. And these same people on social media can't face me because I represent their shadow. I represent the parts of themselves they can't even face. So it's just every day this bullshit is piled on top of me, and I'm losing my divine feminine wisdom through experiencing these patterns. My divine feminine wisdom being able to be detached from these experiences and remember my true identity and not identify with these painful emotions and feelings and experiences that I've had and I'm still having. Spring is one of the most joyous seasons for me. It truly is. And just like today, it smells kind of like spring outside and all the snow is melted. And with that, it's just like there's still that energy code of bottomless black pit that I'm alone. And all of a sudden this like onset of severe anxiety hit me, and I'm just so scared that I'm going to keep being alone in my physical world, But I've come enough, I've come far enough, thank God, that I'm like, wait a minute, slow down. Like, you've activated more of that information that you lost and forgot. You know what's unfolding. Your passions, your purpose. It's just a matter of unraveling to it, of continuing to come back home, cultivating that present awareness and being able to process all this that you're which is precisely why I'm able to be here in front of this video and sharing it and talking about it, because I'm like, this is what I need to do. Clearly, for the past 5 years, not sharing it hasn't done anything. It's made it worse. And if you have anything, if you're someone that has a lot, if you have a lot that's hidden, you feel unliberated, you feel unfree, you feel as if there are other things controlling you. Let me explain something. If you have an issue around control and power, like if you have control and power issues, the reason is because you're operating within that paradigm, within that system of oppression. So you feel oppressed. People who feel oppressed demonstrate oppression towards others. The way to liberate yourself is to open up and share it. And I'm going to tell you that when you actually do that, you see me here on this video, it's going to come up. It's all going to come to the surface, and you're going to realize just how much you've kept buried and hidden, and how much you feel like you've lost your power to something that you can't control, to something that happened in the past that you needed maybe to bury for a period of time in order to survive. In order to, in the long run, when we're talking about divine timing and divine feminine wisdom, that served a deeper, higher purpose for your own soul's evolution. This is what I'm saying to anyone out here in the spiritual community who are like, you need to do this, and you're not doing it because you're not doing this, and da 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 da. Of course, there are some things that, there are absolute timeless tools that we can use. Please, though, let me emphasize that everything does happen in divine timing. All this shit has been piled up in me for 5 years. And those of you who have been connected with me since I've returned to Facebook, and even prior to that, know damn well you've seen it firsthand with your eyes how, like a magical puzzle piece, time has come together in the most incredibly synchronistic ways through one another in the interconnected web that we are. So, yes, everything, all that pain has a purpose for me. I had to experience every step of that journey for a purpose. And there's some of you who have been experiencing it for a hell of a lot longer than I have. And that serves a purpose. And it's time to realize that. And it's time to share it. It's time to face yourself. It's time to free yourself, and let your love flow. Hold on to your divine feminine wisdom. That is truly what's going to carry every person through, is the divine feminine wisdom of the universe, the earth, this creation, the universal laws, knowing that everything has a purpose, knowing that everything is interconnected, knowing that time is in divine timing. Everything unfolds in divine timing. To know that is to heal, because we can take the lessons of the past and use them to plant seeds for the future. That is what divine timing is. Really, truly. This life is designed for us to continuously evolve spiritually. And in all ways, this life is geared toward our spiritual and personal evolution for the highest good of all. But in order to, part of that process is being able to acknowledge the grief and the pain and the shame in order to use that as fertilizer. We take the dirt from the past to grow new crop. And that's what this time is about. It's about becoming aware of our past, becoming aware of our subconscious conditioning. Don't be afraid to face your fears. Facing your fears is the key to your spiritual liberation. Your fears have a purpose. I've mentioned that before. Darkness and fear has a sacred purpose. That anxiety, that fear that you actually experience being woven around you like barbed wire and holding you prisoner and hostage, has a sacred divine purpose of actually freeing you. That's not designed to keep you bound and hold you back and send you to hell for eternity. That's there for you to be able to say, wait a minute. I remember who I am. I remember my worth. I know my worthiness. I know my purpose. Here it is.